Good morning, friends. Welcome to this on the road edition here of 11:11. Hope you're doing well, and that there's some good things in your day on this Ash Wednesday. So hope there's some beauty in it. I'm traveling a bit this week, and so but didn't want to miss an opportunity to come and spend a little time on Ash Wednesday. So, good morning. Hope you're doing great. This day is filled with possibility and joy. Good morning. Good morning. You're doing. It's got a little vet church hat going this morning from my friend Matt Williams, who's out there doing great things with his ministry of caring for veterans and through songwriting and through all manner of things. So it's always great to wear the hat and represent for him. If you're ever interested, you can always look up Vet Church and spend a little time checking out his work. That he's accumulated quite a little group of fellow veterans that he cares for in the midst of his journeying. So, but great guy. We had the privilege of working together in Iraq, and just a soulful and great guy. So check him out, Matt Williams at Vet Church. Hey, Vicky, good morning to you. Hope you're doing great. Good morning, everybody. All right. We'll give it a second and get going here. All right, friends. One or two more folks coming along. Good morning, everybody. So, good morning, everyone. So, hello. Hey, Karen, good morning to you. Hope you're doing grand. So, all right, friends, let's get going this morning. It is the 5th day of March. We're almost through the first week of March. It is the 5th day of March, and it is Ash Wednesday at this 11:11, and I'm glad you're here and glad you are a part of the journey. We have this morning the privilege of entering into another journey to the cross, another journey into the Lenten journey. That Lent itself is one of the oldest practices of the Christian tradition. That whether you keep it, you don't keep it, you mark it, but just to know, there's something to know that for the longest of times, people have prepared themselves to celebrate Easter. They've set time aside, they've fasted, they've restrained themselves as a way of purification and a way of getting ready for the great guest of the Easter journey. This is, it's just that simple idea. If you're going to have somebody over to your house, you tend to run the vacuum across the floor. So it is all part of that journey, and this today we begin with this notion and with this reality of entering into Ash Wednesday. In the liturgical traditions, ashes are applied to the forehead with the phrase, from dust you were created, and to dust you shall return. That we enter into our preparation with the understanding that we're mortal, with the understanding of mortality, with the understanding of the fact that we have that we are a person and a people who will spend some time in this world, who are brought into this world, will travel through this world for a while, and then we will leave this world. And that for us in the congregational way, but in many others, the true understanding of ourselves as pilgrims in this world, that we are just passing through in the ways in which we can find. This morning, as we contemplate this, and this is a very old practice, even even for Congregationalists, there was a way in which that if you were a learned person, you would have on your desk a skull, and that the reason you'd have a skull in there was it was considered a memento mori, remember you will die. And so that everything you did and everything you went and every place you went, every time you sat down at your work to work, or you sat on your desk, there was this way in which there was quite literally a reminder of the fact that you are that you will, well, you'll be like that guy one day. And that it's not to be morbid, and it's not to be and not to be discouraging. It is actually a way of clarifying. Just like the Lenten walk is this way of clarifying. We take some things out of our life so that we can fill it up with better things, not just so that we can suffer, but that we actually, that when we remove things, that it can be filled up with better things, and that we too are designed to be, well, filled up with better things. And but that to understand that the container is finite. There are so many days, there are so many seconds, and so that these seconds and these days and these moments and these journeys matter. These 4,000 weeks that we have of life, if we're lucky. And so I wanted to kind of give you a little glimpse of one of my favorites. On the wall behind me, you can see a fellow by the name of Joshua Chamberlain. Chamberlain was not only a good Congregationalist, but he was a general in the Civil War, became governor of the state of Maine a couple of times. He was president of Bowdoin College. He would go on to live a long time, but he was also wounded 5 times in the American Civil War. One of them critically, where he would suffer from the wound his whole life. That he knew that every day he moved with pain. Every day he moved with difficulty, and he's truly one of my heroes. And I have his picture on the wall, but he's, I think, in his late 60s, early 70s, by the time he gives this speech, that the corresponding piece over here is, which I'll read to you in a moment, that he gives this speech at the 1895 commemoration of the battlefield of Gettysburg. So I won't tell you a big war story, but just to know that he and his regiment were critical in saving the day at the first day or the second day of Gettysburg. So he was pivotal to what happened in his little group, ragtag group of Maine men, really saved the left of the Union Army. And so many years later, they would go back to that spot and they would place a monument on the place where they fought and those that were left and those who had not succumbed to age or their wounds. And they would ask their old colonel, who had been, governor and college president and many other things by that time, but to come and help them set the monument and to say some words over it. And I think it's a fitting tribute today for our contemplation, our little memento mori, this notion that we will remember, we will die. This little Ash Wednesday moment, that where we remember that from dust we were created and to dust we shall return. Because he was setting a monument late in his life. He was setting it with his fellow warriors that wouldn't long be for the world either. That he would actually live. He would actually live into his 80s. But he, always in pain, always struggling to deal with the wounds of war that he'd carried. But never fatigued by it, and never discouraged in it. That, at least by all reports, I'm sure he had bad days, but he and his fellow veterans set this monument in 30 plus, almost 40 years after the war, in the Battle of Gettysburg, and he writes these words, which I'm going to read to you. And he writes them for this. he writes them not just so that he can be remembered and not just so that they'll remember what's going on, but I think he writes them for us. He writes them so that we'll remember that these days we've been given, yes, we may be from dust, and yes, we may shall return to dust, but there's something in between. And that these days that we're called to live in between, having them purpose and having them meaning and having them joy, which is ours to bring into the world and is ours to bear witness to. So as we would come and bear witness to his, the sacrifice that they made for their nation and their people, he might remind us of the journey of our own days. So this is Chamberlain's words. In great deeds, something abides. On great fields, something stays. Forms change and pass, bodies disappear, but spirits linger to consecrate ground for the vision place of souls. And reverent men and women from afar, and generations that know us not and that we know not of, heart drawn to see where and by whom great things were suffered and done for them, shall come to this deathless field, and to ponder and dream. And lo, a shadow of a mighty presence shall wrap them in its bosom, and the power of the vision pass into their souls. He's commemorating a great battlefield. He's commemorating a great moment in which the battlefield of Gettysburg is raised up and the battle is commemorated. But friends, the reality is each of us stand on our own battlefield today. Each of us stand on commemorating what we've survived and what we've done and what we've endured. Each of us stand as a place to set down a marker and to set down a place for the great deeds which we have done. Now you may say, oh, we never went to war, I never did heroic deeds, never saved the Union left, whatever. But you are a part of this story. He most clearly was drawing you into his story. That you're a part of this life and this world in which we are a part of. If you're hearing my voice, you're a part of my story. You're a part of this little 11/11 journey that we're on. And that as we come and we gather and we remember this day, that we'll have only so many days, and our Maker will bring us home. We also have something beautiful, something powerful, something to place as a marker in the days of our living. And that's, I think, why we lift up this day as a day of commemoration of from dust you were created and to dust you shall return. Because in between those places, in between those moments, in between the coming into creation and the going out of this creation, there are souls that you know and that you do not know and that know not you, that you have touched and that you have encouraged and that you have brought goodness and truth and beauty to. You may never know, and you may never know how, and you may never know why, but your living has brought that to being. And as we endeavor to make our way to the cross, as we endeavor to make our way to the resurrection, we also endeavor to lay down our markers and to think about the lives that we live and the lives that we walk out in with all of the saints and all of the beauty of those who have that we've journeyed with. And then when we do that, I think that last line of Chamberlain comes to pass, that the vision may pass into our souls. Friends, the great beauty of this walk is that we walk it not alone. The great beauty of this world is that we endeavor not as individual solo people trying to claw our way towards God, but that we come journeying with all the saints of old, and that the beauty of the vision that we would endeavor to bring this vision of a holy city, New Jerusalem, spread about this world, that we lay down our little brick in its wall, we lay down our little foundation stone, we lay down our little marker, and in doing so, we too pass into the souls of others. And together, we build the kingdom of God. Peace and grace to you, my friends, on this Ash Wednesday, and may you know the one who loves you and brought you into being holds you in the palm of his hand, and that the souls of all of those and their vision of their hope for the world may pass into yours as well. Peace and grace to you, my friends, and we'll pick it up tomorrow with another 11:11.